hello, and welcome. It is the Homegrown Podcast, where we're diving deeper and hanging out with some of our favorite people. And I actually have 3 of my favorite people in right now. Please welcome Tanner, Ryan, and Stravs from Katastro. Hello, guys.
Yo.
Hello.
What's up? What's up?
Hi. It's nice to have you all 3 in here. I haven't seen you guys at least all of you in one room since I think...
Maybe ever.
The Sucker album release party that you guys are doing at Marquee Theater.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever all been in here at the same time, though.
No, usually it's been like Andy has been in here with Stravs.
I think me and Andy sat in this room to do the interview with you when Sucker was about to come out.
Yeah, but it was actually really funny because I wasn't sure if you guys had known. I was like, you know what? Why don't you guys just do the whole Homegrown show and host it? And I'm not going to be in it at all. And you guys are looking at me like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And Andy was hilarious, too, because I think there were so many times he's like, let's just do it again. Let's just do it one more time.
We messed the liners up and have to do it like 5 more times.
It was hilarious, but, it's memories like that I'll, cherish forever. I mean, not just with Andy, but with all of you guys. I mean, It's been pretty awesome to see the glow up that you've all had since I think you did our first show with Cage the Elephant. And Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness.
That was the Ugly Sweater Party show, right? And we actually showed up. We printed our own custom ugly sweaters, and it was a picture of Ryan drinking a 40.
Dude, I was blacked out.
Sweaters.
I think it was like a week bender. And then I found this picture, and they're like, what should we do for the sweaters? I was like, I got a picture. That's pretty ugly.
And I think that was the best we've ever looked as a band.
I think it's cool, yeah.
That was a great fit for sure.
It was cool because that was also the first show that we did as an actual station before we flipped to alternative, before it was like a classic rock station. So it was just rad. And also, oddly enough, my first time ever hearing about you guys, because growing up, I should have been more into the local scene, but I wasn't. And then when I got into the alternative world, it just, I don't know. You guys really opened up my eyes to everything that's here in Arizona. So I guess thank you.
That was one of our favorite, or my favorite shows we've ever done, just because we love Cage the Elephant so much, and Young the Giant. And so it was really cool to have the opportunity to play a set. We had only really played shows with reggae artists or rappers at that time. So I think that's maybe one of the only times we really ever broke out and did a straight alternative show. So we loved that one. That was fun for us.
I remember Andy being nervous, or not kind of nervous backstage, because we walked past the singer Cage the Elephant backstage, and Andy looked at me. He's like, this is the only time I've ever been nervous backstage, because he's a rock star. He's a real rock star.
That dude
definitely
is
one of Andy's heroes.
Yeah,
sure.
Andy on the early stages of the band, Cage the Elephant was one of our biggest influences. So to play with them, I remember that being really rad. And yeah, we've known you for a really long time. You've always been there to put us on before anyone really cared about our band. So we have a unique relationship with you in that way.
We really
it's really
do.
Cool. Yeah.
I have fought so hard. And I'm sure Gonzo will tell you with Nancy when she was back as program director to try and get more of you guys on here on the radio. And then when Sucker came out, that just really did it. We had you guys in full rotation, and
that was wild.
So good to hear. I don't know. I felt serious warmth in my heart. It was rad. It was cool to see people that I've watched glow up and do all this. So. Oh, just great. Weird question. Did you guys end up talking to any of the bands at Ugly Sweater when you guys were there? Or
no,
I talked to the dude that was filling in for drums for Cage the Elephant. They're OG drummer that's always the drummer.
Yeah.
Wasn't there. I guess he had just had a kid or something. And I talked to the drummer for a little bit after we played, and he's like, I saw your guys set, man. You guys are a good band. And I was like, dude, the fill-in drummer for Cage the Elephant said we were a good band. And other than that, I think Andy said hi to the singer of Young the Giant after the show, but Andy had probably had a couple of drinks. And I remember the next day, Andy being like, yeah, I think I weirded that dude out. I went up to him and said hi to him and was like, you guys are so fucking sick. But
awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Well, you guys have 2 big shows coming up here. It's a 2-day event for Kamp Fest. You guys got the pre-party going on at Marquee Theater, February 3rd. That whole thing, just the pre-party alone, you guys have a giant job duty. You guys are doing the Kamp Podcast, which is the 100th episode.
Yeah.
So the story behind that is Ryan and I have done 99 episodes of the Kamp Podcast, and for months, Andy was planned to be the 100th episode.
Yeah.
We
Wow.
filmed and recorded the 99th episode a couple days before Andy
was the day
died while we
before,
were
yeah.
in California together. So,
Yeah,
basically,
I mean, like we just had it on the books that it was always gonna be Andy, and like we had been talking about it for like probably a year at least. We're like, let's do it. He's like, I want to do like a big number, like a cool one. I was like, cool.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
let's do 50, and he's like, I'm busy, and we're like, all right, cool. We'll do. And we're at 51. The next big number is not
we
for
had to
a while.
reschedule
so-
him like 7 times. We're like, yo, we're doing the podcast tomorrow. He's like, can I do the next one?
We're like, yeah. We meet up at like 9 a.m. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do the next one after that.
That happened like 7 times.
But yeah, no, so like, yeah, we recorded that last episode. It's really crazy. Like episode 99, we were all in the Airbnb. We were in California with the Dirty Heads, and we were just in there just talking. Like it was just me and Stravs talking about like what the band, like our relationship between the band and like our own personal identity. And there's a question asked of like, if this ended tomorrow, like
I asked you
where
that,
would you,
right?
Yeah, it's like where, like, do you think you would be all right? And I was like, I think that my identity is so tied to this music and this band. Like, that's all I've ever done since like high school. And little did we know, like, I'd literally like a day later, Andy would pass, and we were like faced with that same question of like, who are we without this band, or like without having that leader? So it's like definitely weird, and it's gonna be hard to do the 100th episode, but
Yeah.
we got Tanner coming in with us, and we're gonna go out there, and it's gonna be fun. We've never done it live. I'm kind of
I know. I was going
Yeah,
to ask
it's
about the
funny.
live
We were,
aspect.
when we were talking about it like a week ago, and I completely realized, I think me and Ryan both did, as we were talking about, doing the podcast at the pre-party, and we were like, this is going to be the first time we've stepped on stage since Andy died. And the cool thing about the podcast is that we never have a plan when we do it. Me and Ryan sit down and we just talk about our life, and we talk about what's going on. And that's been kind of the mission statement of the podcast from the beginning. It's just like, let's not plan this. Let's just talk about like an unfiltered conversation about what's going on in our lives. And over the 99 episodes we've done, we just talk about our relationship with each other, touring, the band, like funny things that have happened, just anything. We'll talk about anything. So
Yeah.
we
that
never
is
did,
going to
like,
be a really interesting thing. Like, I'm glad that the three of us can do that together, though, and it'll be nice to do that before we actually have to get up there and play our instruments. So maybe, who knows? Maybe not. I don't
It's
know.
like
We'll
dipping
see.
our toes in the water to me. I think as we do that, and then later on the night to close it out, we all go out and do like a DJ set where it's going to be like kind of like our vision of like emo night, but for our fan base and like that kind of
Totally.
music. So I think it's like, it will honestly be nice to be able to get in front of a crowd and kind of get a little comfortable with that before we're like thrown out on Mesa Amphitheater the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Playing, like it's kind of, I don't know, it'll like ease comfort.
We've
a
also
little bit, I
got
think.
some really great bands on the pre-party show as well.
You really do.
So that's really exciting. Pry Pete and Mouse Pal
Yeah.
are both artists that I've been producing. Me and Ryan have been working on a lot of Mouse Pal stuff.
Yeah.
And then I've been recording and producing Pry Pete and his band. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool. We got some rad artists on that show. And who else is on the pre-party show? We've got
Mouse Powell, Pry Pete.
Sideways.
Yeah,
Sideways,
Sideways.
yes. Yeah. So it's awesome. It's a dope lineup.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome lineup, especially for, this is just the pre-party. This is just the beginning of everything. Tanner, I'm excited to see what you have planned for the podcast, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got some tricks up my sleeve.
Yeah, some things they answer for. We got a lot of questions in
They're
about
gonna
some
gang up on me.
certain
Just watch.
subjects.
They really are.
They're gonna gang up on me.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions about one certain subject
got-
that I won't bring up here, but it's one.
Dude,
They
it's
got
so
good
funny.
stuff.
Like doing the podcast, I noticed, at least over the past, the months before Andy passed, when we were touring leading up to that, like, because the fans that have listened to us for a long time on the podcast, they like got to kind of really know us, and like they'd walk up to shows and say stuff where I'm like, how do you know that about me? I'm like, oh, the podcast, probably.
Yeah.
They'll just
Isn't
like
that such a
say,
weird thing, though?
No,
It
it's
feels like
awesome
it's
though. It's funny.
too-
Or they're
yeah.
like in on these inside jokes, and they'll come up to us and like say a joke that's from the podcast, and we just love that. It's
Yeah.
so cool because it's
For the most part, sometimes it's wild.
Sometimes it's weird, but
Yeah. Is there anything that
I
you
think
guys?
I overshared a little bit of that.
Yeah. Is there anything that you think you may have overshared once or twice on the podcast?
I don't think so. I think that's the coolest part of a podcast
Yeah.
is like people have this outside perception of who we are as people, and there's always a story we have of everybody in our lives of like what we see on Instagram or whatever. So I think the podcast is a cool way for us to like maybe talk about what's really going on in our lives and like, you know.
Yeah, it brings you down to earth for everybody to see
Because we're all the same. Everyone's got fear. Everyone's got anxiety about stuff. Everyone's got stuff they're going through. So it's like it's fun to talk about serious stuff on the podcast, but then also be like really funny and talk about just super funny shit that we think is funny.
And we've
just
never like
goofing around.
edited an episode. We never cut anything out. So it's kind of like
That's
whatever
never.
goes. And so we're
We're
kind
too
of
lazy to do that.
There's times though where we're like, should we edit that one out?
There's so many times where I edit out something and I'm like, I really didn't need to edit it out, but
Yeah.
I'm overthinking it.
We got some mean tweets once about some jokes Ryan said. Definitely wasn't me. You're more offensive than me.
I love that you're putting the blame on him already.
I mean, if there's
People are going to be mean
If someone's
tweeting.
gonna get canceled, it's Ryan.
Yeah. Well, that was the goal for today. The reason why you're here. No, just kidding.
intervention. We
You
have
know-
this Facebook post from 2011.
Ryan, can you tell
Everyone
us
will
about
open
this
up your
post?
folders. Oh my God. So how do you mentally prepare for all of the things that you guys are doing?
You
for
just
this?
cry a lot in a
Okay.
room together.
we've been rehearsing a lot, like a lot. Usually before
don't?
we play a show, it's like
Usually we don't.
yeah. Usually we don't. Usually before a show, it's like, or even like before a tour, we'll get together for like 2 days and practice for a few hours total. And we started practicing about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, we've been just rehearsing a lot, and I think that was really good. Like kind of the same way I'm looking at like the pre-show and being able to just go on stage and have like a little less pressure, not necessarily performing. It's like just getting in a room and playing with these guys was like incredibly difficult at first. And the thought of like playing a show was like almost unfathomable when we started planning it. And we were all kind of just hoping that, 5 months from now when it's time for the show that we feel better. I definitely do now. But getting in the room with these guys and getting comfortable with playing these sets again and playing these songs, it's definitely helped out in prepping and getting us in like the right headspace because it's going to be a really fun show. We're excited.
I am curious, what was it like doing those first few practices without Andy? Was it difficult? Was it...
Man, for me...
What was that like?
Yeah. For me, the first practice was maybe like the hardest thing we've ever done as a band.
Yeah, I mean, I could barely walk into our studio, to be honest, and not feel like just crushed, Yeah. It just felt like I didn't want to be there anymore.
I felt the same way too, and I work in there every single day because I'm...
Yeah, I mean, I see you with, all the
Over
posts.
the past year or
and-
so, I've been producing and working with other artists, so after he died, I was like, man, do I even want to ever be in a studio again? Do I ever want to play music again? I was like afraid that I wasn't ever going to want to do anything with music. And yeah, dude, it's
crazy how it all
It's
turns
pretty
out,
crazy,
right?
yeah.
How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was super difficult. And I think I just tried to like hold it together a lot and, just get through the set. But by the time I would be on my drive home, I would be like a nervous wreck and like my anxiety was amping up and stuff. And so you kind of I just realized that I couldn't just pretend like it wasn't affecting me in there, and then just the more that we do it, the more you get comfortable with it. And I mean, it's not like we're strangers to Andy not showing up to practice at times. So
Dude,
like not like it's not like it never been done before with rehearsing without him. So it was definitely just kind of surreal. And, you would be really happy and get through it and be like, oh, that felt good. Like we just played that really well. And then you'd realize why you're practicing and like what the show is actually for. And you get kind of brought back to reality again.
Yeah.
But I don't know, overall, like the mission for the show is to like have a good time, like remember Andy, but also like, what he would have wanted. He wouldn't have wanted like a, sad fest the whole
Yeah,
time. Like,
oh
we
my
want everybody-
gosh.
There's going to be heavy moments for sure, but, we want everybody there to have a great time and like we can all kind of celebrate together.
Yeah. I mean, one big thing that I definitely remember from Andy is how much of a fun-loving guy he was. He was always having a good time, cracking jokes. And I would imagine that this is a lot of like what he would have wanted for, Kamp Fest.
I said that to Gonzo, our manager, the other day on the phone. I was like, Kamp Fest is literally the celebration that Andy would have wanted us to have for him because it's going to be the partying, the show, you know, the fans are all going to be there. And that's another thing too, is like, we all talked about how like our fans didn't get to go to Andy's funeral. So like they still didn't get that kind of closure almost. And this is, to me, it's going to be like the most epic version of that.
Yeah.
It's like us playing a show, doing what we love, doing what Andy loved. Because the things that Andy loved the most, the thing that Andy definitely loved the most was being on stage. And that was like when we saw like the truest version of himself. It was just like him and all of his confidence and all of his swag and all of his, you know what I mean? Just so that I'm really looking forward to that and preparing like we were talking about earlier with the rehearsing and stuff. I think like rehearsing and just playing the songs together has been super healing for me to just like get through the next, you know, just keep peeling through those layers, because that's really what it is. Like every day you wake up is just a way different experience of how you're feeling that day. And
you have no idea what it's going to hold.
Yeah, but for Kamp Fest, for me, has been like, I got something to work on.
Yeah.
This is great. I got something to work on that's going to help celebrate Andy's life and bring the community of people together that have been there for us since day one. And I can't think of like more meaningful things to put in one area than that. That's like really, really cool. And I want to look back someday and be like, I'm really proud that we did that, you know?
Yeah. And now I want to take it back for a little bit. Because this is to honor and to celebrate Andy. You know, what sparked the idea to do a camp music festival exactly?
We had originally gotten hit up to play Cali Vibes Fest in California.
I saw that.
And we're playing that one with like Dirty Heads and Snoop Dogg and all these awesome people.
Yeah.
And we kind of had the idea of like, okay, it is possible if we have enough people at the same place to like have them fill in for different songs and stuff. And Stravs was like, we need to do one here first. And we were kind of like, I didn't really think we would be able to pull it off because we only have 5 months. And I was pretty much like, there's no way, you know?
Yeah.
But we just decided to try it and go for it. And like so far, every single thing has really panned out in our favor. And like we got the venue we wanted. We got every artist like happened to not be on tour that day, and so they're all able to come out.
Awesome.
It's crazy, like just the amount of things that had to accidentally go correct or like go right for us in order for this to be able to be pulled off. And it's like it's really happening, and it's not until like honestly this week that we're feeling like, oh, this is actually going to happen.
Oh yeah,
because there's so
like
many things that were like up in the
yeah.
air, and you're like, oh, if this doesn't happen, this is gonna be really rough. But it's it's working out. Like right now, I'm so happy with where the show is at and like how it's gonna go. So
well, your question too, like why do we want to do Kamp Fest? So camp, the reason we called it the Kamp Podcast when we started the podcast was because we had an idea years ago that we wanted to build an overarching like brand called Kamp that was a community for our fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's spelled with a K because we're Katastro.
Of course.
So I think, you know, we're slowly realizing that camp is something bigger than just a podcast, you know.
It's a community.
And yeah, it's a community for the people that love our music and, you know, and now who knows what we could turn it into. But yeah, Ryan came up with the name. He called me a couple years ago and was like, what if we call it Kamp? Because like, this was just ideas we had years ago, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's finally like, we had an idea to launch it before Andy died, and Andy was really excited about the concept. He was like, dude, let's get this started before the Iration Atmosphere Tour. Like, our fans will love being a part of this. And he was really, really excited about it. And so, you know, now we're kind of playing this game of like, we'll sit around and talk like, what would Andy wanted to do in this situation? And then sometimes it'll be funny because we're like, well, maybe we shouldn't do it the way Andy would do it. But for the most part, you know, we're trying to make decisions in the correct way that would be like, you know, honor him and, you know, just get our music out there and the stuff that we've done to as many people as possible, because people obviously got something out of it. And
yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the special guest lineup that you guys have too, equally as wild. I mean, you have Rome from Sublime with Rome. You got Jared and Duddy from the Dirty Heads. Both of the Micahs from Iration. Logan from Article Sound System, and Colton from Pacific Dub.
Yep.
How do you narrow down your special guests?
Well, we actually have a couple more that I would like to shout out because they weren't on the flyer, but Mouse Pal is actually going to be joining us as well on
really?
stage.
Okay.
And then we also have our friend named Colton Avery, and he was someone who used to open up for us way back in the day when we were playing. I think it was like the first time we ever played Marquee. He opened up, and years later he found himself in like London working for a band writing music called The Script. And I reached out to him, and like me and Andy would do Zoom calls with him to write songs for our album. So he'd be in London and we'd be here, you know?
Yeah.
And so he did a couple of songs with us and helped us write, I think the song Stars and the song Naked on our last album. And so I hit him up because he had moved back to America, and I was like, come out to Arizona and come get on stage. So we also have some other people that aren't necessarily the big name bands from the scene, but they're people that are like really instrumental in our growth as a band and people that have been there for us. But yeah, as far as like narrowing it down, I mean, it was the Dirty Heads was like obvious. We had to do them because, you know, we were with them when it happened. And they've been incredible this whole time.
I feel like it was pretty obvious. It's really weird. Like how you said how many things that have clicked into place for this show to be possible. It's like, I don't know what's happening or like what kind of strings Andy's pulling to make this like work, but just like all the flights that have booked, everyone's schedule is working out to come be able to do this, you know, it's really nuts. But like, you know, like Jared and Duddy from Dirty Heads have become really good friends of ours. And Jared specifically was like the guy in the scene that Andy really looked up to. Like he really, like Jared was his favorite. So for Jared to like step up and come be like a big brother to us and jump in and help us out during this time it's crazy. So like we're really excited to have those guys. And
Iration was probably like the one band that has given us more opportunities than anybody else as well. It's like they would bring us out on tour so many times in a row that like their managers would be like, you guys can't take them this many times. And they're like,
they just love having us on
tour.
They're
like, no, we're going to take them because they liked us. And so it's like they would put us on, like they believed in us from the very beginning. They would get us out on these massive stages. And, you know, like after Andy passed, we were supposed to go on tour with them, you know, a month later. So it was like a 2-month summer tour. And so they printed a Katastro shirt and sold it at merch to donate the proceeds to us. They've really been amazing. Like everybody that's on that stage has like a serious impact or has had a serious impact on our band. And I'm so happy that those people are going to be there. Yeah,
Colton from Pacific Dub, they were the first band that ever got Katastro a show out of Arizona.
Really?
Back in MySpace, our song That Place You Know is our profile song.
Yeah.
And they somehow heard it and they messaged us and said, hey, we're a band from Huntington Beach. Do you guys want to come here and play a show with us? And then maybe you can get us a show in Arizona. And we're like, yeah. And so it's actually a really good story because we had a bunch of tickets that we were supposed to sell for the Method Man and Redman show at Marquee here. It was like the second show we ever got at Marquee. And Tanner had all the tickets in his backpack. And we went to Huntington Beach to play this show with them. And we took Andy's dad's car, and Andy's dad's car got broken into in the parking garage.
Oh no.
And
with
Tanner's
all the
backpack got stolen.
Why we brought the tickets with us, I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense.
And so we have to call. Did we call you, Gonzo? We called Gonzo. We're like, we were tripping too because we're like 19. We're like, these guys are gonna kill us. Like we just lost like thousands of dollars worth of tickets.
Dude, Donnie used to
the GM for Marquee.
Yeah. He called us and because we were so afraid of Gonzo, our manager now, and Donnie called us and he's like, if I see one of those tickets, I'm throwing you in Tempe Town Lake. Like you guys are done. And
we thought our career was over, dude.
And like I remember after the show, he's like, somebody said like 50 of the tickets have came through, and we're like, you're lying. There's no way that 50 tickets came from Huntington Beach. They mailed them to 50 people in Arizona.
Yeah, or they just drove down here and they're like, here's a free ticket.
They didn't want to pay us that day or something.
But yeah, to go back to all the artists that are playing the show with us really, really mean a lot to us, and they're like just really good friends that we couldn't think of anybody else to join the stage with us. So yeah,
I'm excited to see what's in store for us on the 4th at Mesa Amphitheater. Also, the fact that you guys got Mesa Amphitheater, this is just going to be massive. I feel like It's going to be a lot of crying, a lot of holding each other, and just a lot of singing. Like, it's going to be a party.
Yeah, we wanted to pick a grassy venue.
It's the perfect
for Kamp
venue.
Fest. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be.
Could you imagine
outside.
if actual Kamp Fest was just inside? It wouldn't feel like,
it wouldn't
quite
be
the same.
Yeah, totally.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Real quick, going back to Marquee Theater, obviously you guys were there when they unveiled that beautiful portrait of Andy. How did that come about exactly?
That was tough. How did that come? Tom LaPena. That was his idea.
Because you guys have played numerous shows there.
So is he friends with the artist Gonzo? Yeah.
You could
jump on here. Come jump on the mic.
Get over here, Gonzo.
So basically, the Marquee has always had all those murals up, with all the bunch of different rock stars up, and Tom said he wanted to do that for Andy's family and for the guys, and he just got it made, and no one saw it. No one saw it at all until the very last minute. So it was pretty fantastic. It was great. I honestly, when they unveiled it, seeing Lydia, Andy's mom, like break down, I didn't see her obviously when she got told that Andy passed, but they've been so strong. But then they both broke down pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty. And awesome,
it was pretty wild too, because like a bunch of fans showed up too, and
there was more people for the unveiling than there was for the show that was actually happening.
Yeah.
Facts, and that was actually our show.
Yeah.
I'm not even mad because honestly, I just thought that the unveiling of the portrait was way more important. Sorry, Tom LaPena. I'm sure you're probably going to yell at me for that one. That's fine.
That was an intense moment for sure. I think there's been a couple intense moments like that where, no one like, you don't really ever get any training in how to deal with like public situation of like losing your best friend and business partner. It's like that's the weird thing for the three of us. Like, I think the three of us are the only ones that can relate to each other in a sense of like what it's like to deal with this on such a public level, I guess.
Yeah.
And that has been really weird, but also there's weird stuff about it, but there's also like really beautiful things about it, because I feel like seeing the outpour of love and how many people care has been really helpful. And it's just really intense too.
I'm curious if there's been like anybody that has, they've been following you for years and they're looking for your guys' guidance. I mean, has that come up in conversation with fans or?
I don't know. I think if they are, I'm sure there are some, but I think if they are, I think Kamp Fest is going to serve a lot of purposes in that sense. I feel like just having everyone together in one place and celebrating someone's life, Andy's life, is going to, I don't know, who knows what that could do for someone that's maybe going through something else in life,
Yeah.
Because as unique as it feels, like, I don't know, I just keep coming back to like, I know I'm not the only person that lost someone really close to me in the last, 6 months. So.
Another cool thing that you guys are doing with Kamp Fest the day before it actually goes down is Andy's friend, Charles Taylor, he's doing tattoos for people.
Yeah, he's awesome.
How did you guys manage to swing that? How did that all... I'm just curious about how everything just came out.
He's been tattooing Andy for years. Like 90% of Andy's ink is from Charles, right?
Yeah. Yeah, most of it, I would say. Like, I don't know. I hit him up and was just like, hey, any way you can block out a day for like our fans. And I have this weird like thing where I never think anybody's going to show up for anything we do, And so like it would happen before we do a giveaway. I'd be like, hey, we're going to be here for the next 5 hours. And if you come grab it, then whatever. And I would just be like, nobody's going to show up. And somebody would always come within like 30 minutes of announcing where it's at.
I shared that same thing with you.
So I was just like, yeah, hopefully. He's like, how many people? I was like, I honestly have no idea. Just think it'll be cool because we have a lot of people coming from out of state. And he's like, cool, yeah. And so he booked that day out for us and did the art. And then he hit me up like 30 minutes after we posted it. He's like, I'm completely booked that day.
Oh my God.
He's like, I had to open up the day before on the 1st as well. And then an hour after that, he said the 1st is completely booked.
Oh my
So now
God.
he's bringing in other artists to tattoo his flash as well. So we can have like kind of take over like the whole shop for those days. And it's pretty crazy. Like I really wasn't expecting like that.
How cool is
many
this?
people.
So sick.
That's so dope, though.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Do you guys have a tattoo for Andy at all, or
Yeah.
what did you get? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, here, let me.
Yeah, AJC.
Nice.
Yeah,
Charles did it also.
I got
Nice.
Yeah, AJC. Charles did it. I actually have a couple matching tattoos with Andy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and Andy got these like rabbits tattooed on us in Salt Lake City on our day off by Megan Jean Morris. She's like a really famous tattoo artist.
Yeah.
She's like one of our friends now too. She's rad.
Oh, that's so rad.
But
Andy got my dead tooth tattooed on his finger.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So like I had a tooth removed, and we did this like all these shows. I had like was missing a tooth for a long time, and so Andy he got the rabbit tattoo, and he's like, Ryan, you get to pick my next tattoo, and I couldn't think of like what it could be. And we were this is an off day, and we were at this massive house in Salt Lake, and like we've been drinking all day, and I was like, I don't even know, like I don't know what to pick. And one of Megan's friends was just like, get his tooth, because we just kept talking about
He had a missing tooth at the time.
Yeah, I was like completely toothless on like the front of my mouth for that tour, and so Andy got it tattooed on his finger and just said R.I.P. and it had a tooth.
Why were you missing a tooth?
I don't know, just life, you know. Yeah,
That doesn't explain anything,
Yeah.
but okay.
yeah, life.
We'll save that for another podcast.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right.
We'll bring you on the Kamp podcast. We'll tell you the whole story.
Yeah,
I
did
cannot wait.
I did have like a fake retainer thing with a tooth on it, so
Oh.
it looked like normal. But a week before we went on tour, my dog ate it. And so like my dog ate my tooth, and I was like, oh my god, like I can't even get this made
That was
before I have to
amazing.
leave town. And they're like $500, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna have to buy a new one. And they're like it's gonna take like a month, and I was like, no. So I just had to live like Joe Dirt life.
Oh my god, I'm missing a tooth in my mouth, so I'm just trying to think who's your doctor, because I'm gonna have to hit him up and
Oh yeah,
pop one
Don't
in
go
there.
to my first doctor. I think I got scammed out of a tooth, but that's a different story.
That is a different story. That's a whole other podcast in itself. Well, I am curious. You know, we have all these things going on now. You guys are playing festivals now. Like, what does the future hold for Katastro? Yeah, Tanner. What does the future hold?
That's a great question.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to even think about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, we're riding it like, you know, it's like kind of like the whole thing's just a wave, and we don't really know exactly where it's going to go right now, but we can just hope that our story gets out there, and, you know, I think our fans are going to be happy. Yeah, we've been putting a lot of work with these festivals, and, you know, we're going to get right back to work once they're over, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we can't give too much information away right now, but I think it's important to note that the story of the band is definitely not over. And there's a lot more stuff that people can look forward to.
That makes me happy to hear.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want your fans to know, or anything that you want to talk about more for camp that people should know about that I haven't mentioned yet? Because you guys got a lot going on.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry to those of you that wish we would have been a little more active over the past 7 or 8 months, but obviously we had to take a break.
Yeah.
I mean, the three of us just had to like take a step back and like do our own process of whatever this is, you know.
Were people upset that you guys weren't active?
No, and they weren't, but we're so used to like one thing after another, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when this happened, it was very much so destabilizing in that rhythm of like, well, you make an album and then you go on tour, and then you make an album and you go on tour, and then, you know, it's like we're
now
used to
everything's
that
at a
process.
screeching halt.
We've been doing that for 15 years, so now, you know, but I don't know. I guess letting the fans know that we do, you know, there's more to look forward to, and Kamp Fest is what we are really focused on right now, because, like Tanner says, it's hard for us, our brains, to even figure out what's happening in a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we do have some stuff going on that people don't know about that we are excited about, and I'll say that.
I know.
Is that fair to say? Am I allowed to say that on the air?
I don't know, man.
I mean-
You're kind of spilling some
No,
frijoles over there.
that's why I held
That's
back.
a
You
little
kind
bit
of
of
blew it.
frijoles. You open up the can.
Did I spill some frijoles?
Refried.
Oh,
almost.
for real. Some serious.
But
I think the fans need some hope.
yeah, we got we're incredibly lucky that our fan base is very diehard, and it's been like that for a while, where everybody that comes to our shows, like, it's a real community vibe. So we've had people say, you know, I came to your show alone, I've never done it, and like that's pretty scary for a lot of people. Like, I wouldn't do that, but but they're like, you know, I come and like everybody meets friends, and it's like it's just really insane to see how much all of our, you know, followers have been like, they're all getting together now and they're all hanging out, and our shows are very like friendly places for people to go, and it's just like, it's comfortable because you're always going to meet like people. There's no real like ego. Like, you've been to some shows where you're like, don't, like, everybody's kind of on edge and weird. It's like everybody comes together because they're all there for the same thing. So I know with these circumstances in this show, it's going to be, you know, even more so. We have some of our like, you know, day one followers working the festival with us and helping out and stuff. So we're like reaching out to some of those people and being like, trying to give them roles and make them a part of it as well, because, you know, without them, we wouldn't have a festival to throw, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we've got, like, I posted something on our Instagram a couple days ago asking if anyone's coming from out of state, and I was like in Katastros DMS just getting flooded right away of like, there's like 30, I'm not exaggerating, there's like at least 30 different states of people saying, I'm coming from this state, I'm coming from this state, all across the country. And I was like forwarding them to Andy's parents, because like throughout us like figuring out things for the festival, you know, obviously we're working with them on it and making sure that they're involved. And I don't know, it's just cool to see them light up when they see how far their son's voice, like, you know, touch people across the country.
Yeah.
And that has got to be such a crazy feeling for them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like,
probably didn't even realize it until obviously you're seeing it.
Yeah. And when I was seeing it the other day on Instagram, I was like, damn, this show is going to be so epic. Like, this is crazy we're doing this.
Well,
like,
you guys sold out on your 2-day passes already, right? And you have single day now.
Yeah, so we still have tickets available, but yeah, the 2-day passes are sold out.
Hotel deals sold out.
Yeah, the hotel deal is sold out.
Tattoos sold out.
We're just really excited. It's been overwhelming for sure, just because like we're doing all of this as we're still like processing what's going on. And but it's going to be really, really fun, and I don't know, I'm just excited. And that's one thing I realized at rehearsals too. I was like, I think after the first practice we did, I was like on my way home and I called each of them individually and I was like just crying. I was like, dude, I love you. And then like you're in there and I'm just like, I love these songs. I'm like, for me personally, I've been able to experience Katastro as if I wasn't in the band and experience like, oh wait, like we are a good band. People do actually like our music. Like almost like the Imposter Syndrome was like peeled off for a second or something.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. Like it's almost like this new way of
like an out of body experience.
Kind of like, yeah, for sure. It actually specifically happened to me when we were at after Andy's funeral, we went to Sandbar for like,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we had like a
but
little
everyone was, you know, it was late. Like a lot of people were drunk and they were dancing. They were playing Katastro in this bar the whole night.
That's awesome.
And I remember having this moment where I looked around and I was like, it was like super clear to me. It was like, oh, like we're good. Like we're actually, our music's good. And like people were dancing and I was like, we're sick. But it was like it was almost like the first time I had ever realized it, as in like, I don't know how to explain it. It was so crazy, like almost like paradigm shifting. Like,
well, it makes sense. I mean, you know, when you're playing the music, you're in it and you're focused.
And we're just,
you know,
and we just think, we just know we're nerds. Like, we just know we're like a bunch of weirdos.
When you're like doing the band, like you're doing it like we do, where it's like, you know, touring like 7 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year, and then you get home and you take like a few weeks if you can, or a month, and then you start rehearsing for the next thing and you start writing music, and it's like you get really laser focused on one thing and you don't really get to experience everything that you're actually experiencing while you're going through it.
Yeah.
And once Andy passed, and like just like the overwhelming amount of support, it really made you realize like, oh, like we had a lot more than we ever thought we did, and we had done a lot more than we thought we did. And it really made me like appreciate and like realize like I'm so lucky to have been a part of this, and like have spent my entire life like working on this one thing with like 4 people or 3 other people that I like care about, and still have like we don't have fights and no blowouts over the last 15 years of being a band, and it's
Which is
just like
remarkable.
it's crazy, yeah. And so it's like it is super disorienting, but at the same time it was really comforting knowing like one, we had like the fan base that had our back, the people in the scene and the bands were all incredibly helpful to us, and then just knowing I had these guys, and like we all went through the same thing at the same time, and we're like been there for each other as well. So I don't know, it really made me like appreciate being in this band and like all the things that we got to do, and
Same.
you know, like all the experiences we got to share with Andy and stuff as well.
Yeah. Tanner?
Yeah, speechless. Same. I mean, it's easy when we're busy to kind of just focus on certain things, but yeah, like they said, after the fact, it's just like taking a step away and really appreciating all the love the fans have given us, and like kind of just knocks you on another dimension and looking at things differently.
It really is.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody and they're like, wait, you guys played Red Rocks? I was like, yeah, we did it 3 times. And they're like, 3 times? And I was like, oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but this
You know,
last
it's
time.
like-
And it's so funny,
massive.
like
And
we-
Andy did not show up to the practice for that, by the way. and he played awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
the other day we were practicing. Someone made a joke like, Andy didn't show up for Red Rocks practice and we crushed that show. We should be fine. It's like funny, but
What
it's like,
what a last show to be all together at was, you know, Red Rocks with Sublime with Rome and Jizza. And like, it's just like, it's such a bucket list venue.
Yeah.
And we had done it a couple times before, but this one was just different. We played in front of a much bigger crowd than we ever had there. And I think we like just played really well. And we had a lot of our own fans there.
Yeah.
Andy's
around
parents and my parents flew out to the show.
Yeah.
And like, I think about that so often, how like his parents got to see him play his last show sold out at Red Rocks. Like when we walked on stage, there was 10,000 people out there.
That's insane.
And it was so sick.
What is that feeling like?
It's pretty cool.
It was
all right.
it was dope. And but yeah, it's
I will
don't
say
know.
that
Like you said earlier, like being here when that stuff's going on and like really experiencing it is so important, because I don't know about you guys, but there's been plenty of shows that we've played in front of like thousands of people where I'm just not even there. I'm like worrying about something that's going wrong on stage, or I'm worrying about something, I don't know, from a few hours ago. Like I literally sometimes have you guys done that? Where you're just
I'm like
not
thinking
present?
about like what I'm gonna eat like the next day. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm on stage right now.
It sounds funny, but it's like, you know, we've played a lot of these songs so many times that like there's just muscle memory ingrained into some of it, especially when you're on tour for a long period of time.
Yeah.
It's easy to like just not be present. And I think it's Andy dying is teaching me to like wake up and try to be more present in life as much as I possibly can. And I've been kind of bad at that over the years, and
It's hard.
teaching me that, I think.
I would say that it is hard to do that and learn that, especially when you have a schedule like your guys's, where, you know, it's one thing after another. You're getting ready. You're always preparing for the next thing. You don't really have a chance to let it soak in. And when you do, I mean, so much time has already gone by. It's like, wow, we actually did that. It's incredible. So, I mean, and, you know, just to see all the things that you guys done throughout the years, you know, especially watching that video of you guys at Red Rocks, it was just awesome. It was so massive, and like to see your guys' family come out and, you know, they're included in the video. Like, it is cool to see how family like all of you are. So, yeah, it's just been cool. And I'm you know, it is unfortunate that it had to take this to do that, but at the same time, there's so much to appreciate and so much to love and so much to cherish. So I'm glad that you guys are getting at least a little bit of time to see all of that.
Yeah.
It's been an awakening, I think. You know, it's like
it really is. It's like a way different view that I have on reality now than
when like
before
on
80.
that grind of like, you know, what's next, and like that kind of with that comes like nothing's ever good enough. And then like, you know, once you get like one of your goals, you're like, well, that goal wasn't high enough, and the next goal is really big. And like once we get that, like then it'll be like, I feel like we did something. And then it's just that never happens. You know, you're always looking for the next thing. And then when it's all taken away from you, you still try to continue that. What's next? And that was like you just feel so lost because you're like, you don't have that next thing to go. And like, so once we started doing camp, it was like comforting to be like, we have something that we can work on and make, as good as possible, and like have our hands on as much as we can. It's like we're throwing the show all us, and we're getting like awesome help from, lighting companies and production companies as well. But it's like, this is our show, we're promoting it, and Tom LaPena is helping us with it, and it's just like, I'm excited. We've never done anything this big on our own, like, ever. So
it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
I'm super grateful that I get to be a part of it. The fans get to be a part of it. And I'm looking forward to all the festivities you guys got going on. I'm looking forward to even more of your guys' playlists that you guys are going to be doing. So
yeah, it's going to be rad.
I can't wait to see your guys' version of Emo Night.
It's going to be Katastro Night.
Katastro Night. Just nothing but the hits?
Well, Katastro, let's call it Katastro.
Irie Night.
The Irie Katastro Reggae Night, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because the Irie's playing too.
We're going to, play some other smashes, like, I don't know, maybe like Vacation from Dirty Heads. What else you guys want to hear? Like some big, we need some big, just hits from the scene.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Ryan,
were
what's
asking.
your favorite Iration song again? Sorry.
That's really difficult. Probably
Why is it Time Bomb?
Automatic. he is a big Automatic fan, so we'll probably play that one.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? But it's gonna be fun. We haven't figured out the DJ set yet, but I got some tricks up the sleeve. We got some tricks up the sleeve.
We're kind of winging a lot of stuff. There's a lot to do at once. We've been like, oh yeah, what about that? Just, like, we have 2 days to figure that out.
Having to develop a relationship with uncertainty, and that is not easy to do.
No.
It's like really the weirdest part about all this, I think, is just accepting the fact that you don't know what's ahead. Mm-hmm. That is like,
and you can't control
it. That's life. Like, that's always going to happen to you in life, no matter what, at certain stages. So it's like, maybe this is that thing that's just like punching me in the face, telling me that. Who knows? But
there's so many times
it feels like sometimes, and it's like, dude.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna, see how everything comes together.
But it's exciting,
It is exciting.
It's exciting. Anything can happen.
Also, I'm really sorry if I made this seem so like somber. I didn't want to, because I mean, we're celebrating Andy, and I'm really excited about that and seeing you guys all back together again. So definitely looking forward to it. Again, February 3rd and 4th, the pre-party. Yes. Still tickets available. You can grab them at marquetheater.com, altaz933.com. Since we are in the studio, I kind of have to pick them out.
Katastromusic.com.
Katastromusic.com. And then, of course, tickets for the next day for the actual Kamp Fest, February 4th at Mesa Amphitheater. Guys, I really appreciate you coming in here, taking the time to hang out with me. And I know you probably had like actual better things to do, like making your playlists and things like that. So
I thought you were going to say making pasta.
Or making pasta, man.
Do you have any requests for the DJ set on February 3rd?
So I was thinking about this because I saw the Instagram post, and I was like, okay, what songs do I want? I definitely want Waste the Night. I mean, I think that's probably one of my favorites that you guys do. Obviously, Flow.
Okay, noted.
But I need to pick something outside. Are you trying to do different genres? Are you trying to keep it in the
we're kind of
wheelhouse of reggae?
I think going off vibe, I think, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of want like a DJ set that represents the scene.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe some other artists we've, shared the stage with and stuff.
Maybe
but, I mean, we could throw in
like
I was
some
just DMX or something if you want.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yeah, if you could throw in some DMX, that'd be great. Maybe his version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that'd be awesome, too.
Yeah, that one's good.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at Kamp Fest.
Thank you.
Of course.
See you at camp.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the Homegrown Podcast. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit up the guys at Katastro on all of their social media platforms.